On October 26, 2022, the governor of the Nigerian Central Bank announced to the public that he had met with the president, and both of them had agreed to change the three highest denominations of the Nigeria currency.
The management of the CBN has sought and obtained the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari to redesign, produce, release and circulate new series of banknotes at 200 naira, 500 naira and 1000 naira levels.
Of course, if you want to give such announcements to the public, you want to tell them the reason why. So the governor stated the reasons why they are redesigning the naira, and everybody accepted those reasons to be the real reason why they are redesigning the naira. However, if you can spend some minutes with me, I'm going to debunk all of these reasons given for the redesign of naira, and I'm going to tell you one reason, which is the most likely reason why the naira is being redesigned. So here we have it. These are 7 common reasons you can see in public domain for the redesigning of naira. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. However, this is the real reason I think is behind the redesigning of naira. Now, without wasting your time, what I'm going to do is to show you one after another all of the 7 reasons which you can find either from the mouth of the governor himself or in the public domain from the journalists. They are here, and I'm going to be showing you the reason why the redesigning of naira cannot possibly be for any of these 7 reasons. So let's get started. First, if you listen to the central bank governor when he was talking about redesigning naira, he said this:
the CBN is convinced that the incidence of terrorism and kidnapping will be minimized as access to large volume of money outside the banking system used as source of funds for ransom payments will begin to dry up.
According to the Nigerian CBN governor, this is the first reason why we should redesign naira. Yeah, kidnapping will reduce if we can redesign naira. And if you look at it from the outside, it seems to make sense. Why? Well, we are going to take in all of these trillions of naira that are in circulation, meaning there will not be enough money in the circulation, enough naira notes to pay kidnappers, right? Well, it makes a little sense until you start thinking about the fact that even before now, many of the notorious kidnappers in Nigeria no longer ask you for naira anymore. You are old enough to remember Evan the kidnapper. Look at this headline. It's very simple. This was 2017, and Evan was not collecting naira from his victim. He demanded $1 million from one of his victims. So the question is, if we want to redesign naira because we don't want the citizen to have enough naira to pay ransom, what about the fact that the kidnappers are not even interested in the naira in the first place? So another thing somebody might say is, they will stop kidnapping when they know there is no naira in the circulation they can collect. So, oh wow, you have never spent some minutes with criminals. If you have spent some minutes with criminals, you will know that they know when they kidnap your mother, you are going to look for dollars. It's as simple as that. So, with this my argument, you will agree with me that stopping kidnapping cannot possibly be the reason why Nigerian government want to redesign naira. So We throw that away. Now, let's move to the second reason that is, in the public domain, which is this. If you have been following the news of Naira redesign, you must have read somewhere, in many places, that one of the reasons why the Central Bank of Nigeria need to redesign Naira is because it will improve the value of Naira, right? Now, you know what is very funny about this? Where the Central Bank governor himself never said anything specifically as per the likelihood of the value of Naira, getting to increase or stopping inflation or anything like that. In fact, when the CBN governor was asked the same questions in that news conference, this is what he had to say.
Will this decision impact the value of the Naira? Well, I do not want to just easily admit that would happen.
You see, the reason why you are assuming that changing the color of a currency will suddenly improve its value does not make sense is that what you are saying is like saying Nigerian footballer tend to use green and white in their jersey. Then you think if we can change the color of their jersey to the color of Barcelona jersey or Man United jersey, they are going to win World Cup. Like, it is ridiculous, right? But that is as ridiculous as what some people are suggesting. Color of a thing does not improve its value. If you think I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you an example. You see, there are countries of the world that are using dollars. For example, you have Canada using dollars, and you have Zimbabwe using dollars. Are you telling me now that because Zimbabwe, after they have destroyed their money, they come to tell you we are using dollars in our country? Zimbabwe dollars, that is what it is. Does that magically give value to that currency because you call it dollars? I'm sorry to announce to you, Zimbabwe currency is one of the worst in the world, and it is called dollars. So if you like, go and change the color and the design of the Nigerian Naira to that of pound sterling. It will not change anything in the real value of the Naira, because the currency of any given nation is determined by the economy of that nation, not the color of the currency. There are so many ridiculous ideas that can fly around in African communities, and I'll give you more examples. You see, like 1 decade ago, I started hearing on radio that some people are suggesting that the reason why Nigerian police are misbehaving is because they wear black uniform. Then people started debating that maybe they should change the color of the Nigerian police uniform, which is one of the reasons why they eventually changed the color of the Nigerian police uniform to blue, to different colors. Now, this is a very wonderful question for you. Since they have changed the color of the Nigerian police force, you have seen Nigerian police in a different light, or they have changed the way they behave. Yet we have wasted probably billions of naira changing their uniform. So you want to really change the currency of your country, you want to change the color, redesign it, repaint it, and you think that will improve the value of the currency? I'm very sorry, it will not work. There are a few other reasons you can see everywhere you look on the internet. For example, some people say it will reduce corruption, and the question I ask them is how? Before now, your political criminals have learned how to take their bribes in dollars. I don't even want to talk much about this because it will probably drive me mad if I continue talking about it. You thinking redesigning your currency will suddenly reduce corruption? Okay, so let's check some other reasons. Some people said it will stop money laundering. How? Okay, don't let me talk about it. Then some people say it will stop terrorism. It will stop terrorism financing. Oh, so okay, they finance terrorism even in advanced world. You only give them different methods to do it. Yeah, kind of like, yeah, I don't want to waste your time. I have evidences I can show you for all of this, but you probably don't have time for my rants. Then some people said it will stop counterfeiting. Oh, do you know they counterfeit the US dollars? You don't know. I asked you to Google it. So if the United States of America have currency that people counterfeit, you magically think by you changing the color. Have you seen the new notes of Nigeria? You change the color, it suddenly become impossible to counterfeit, right? I don't know how that makes sense to anybody. So maybe we should trust that too. Now there is one reason which is as big as the first one I started this video with, and many of you watching this video must have been saying that this guy have not talked about the real thing. The real thing. What is that real thing? Oh, the real thing is that we believe if we can change the color of our currency, it will stop vote buying.
This is an attempt to prevent vote buying in the 2023 general elections. With beavers, with biometric identification, most politicians have seen now that it won't be so easy to do vote buying. But if you have a lot of cash in certain parts of the country, you can influence the voter.
So let us stop vote buying, and we are going to do that by redesigning our Naira. And I will confess to you that the first time I heard that, I really thought it made a lot of sense. And if you think about it briefly, you would think, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, redesigning our Naira before election, you know, just few months to election, that should stop vote buying, right? I thought that was making sense until I thought about it for several weeks. Now, this is the conclusion I arrive at. When you talk about the Nigerian politicians, you are talking about some of the most notorious criminals in the world. I mean, we are talking about people who are so devilish that they will build 28 houses with the public money, and nobody lives in these millions and millions of dollars of houses. They just build it. Now, when you talk about being devilish, we are talking about people who will steal $1 billion and they will go and bury it in their villages where there is no electricity. I'm talking about people who will buy brassiere with $3 million. I mean, nobody they see your bra now. Are you not mad? Are you not mad if you have to think of buying your undies with $3 million? Yet that is what Nigerian politicians do every day. Now, for you to now think people who are as criminal as this could suddenly be stopped by a simple policy as redesigning Naira, you must be naive. You probably don't know who you are dealing with. So now, what do you think Nigerian politicians would do? Well, I don't know what they would do, but I can imagine a few things they would do. I will not be surprised if a few weeks to the election, an average Nigerian politician starts ringing the MD of banks. Don't deceive yourself. Any Nigerian politician who is contesting to be a governor is having on his phone the phone number of probably 7 MD of Nigerian banks. And they are friends, they meet, they drink together. I won't be surprised if 1 week to the election, or they are already arranging that. Yeah, hello, Mr. John. You understand what this your stupid governor has done to us now? You know, all the money we try to keep for this election is gone. And you know we have to win this election. You know we have to win. So then that one said, oh yes, sir. Yeah, what do you think we should do? I'm thinking if we can use one of my companies, X and Y Nigeria Limited, the company we started with nothing to do with in the first place. We just started that company anyway to steal money and to launder money in the first place. I'm thinking if we can borrow money on the name of that company. You know, you will just borrow us, you know, just 5 billion naira in the name of that company. Then we will know how to get it out of the company. You know, and that one will say, do you remember the new policy of the CBN that you cannot withdraw more than X amount of money? So forget the policy. It is your friend talking to you. By the way, you have 5% out of this entire money. Okay, we'll meet at the club by the weekend. That is how that guy got 5 billion naira. Yeah, I don't know, maybe that will happen, but it is not beyond the possibilities in Nigeria environment. Another thing that can happen, which could be crazy, but it is possible, is if on election day you start seeing $10 and $20 notes flying around in Nigeria. I mean, see, you are dealing with grade 1 criminals. You can make it difficult for them to do what they want to do, but I promise you, they are going to bribe or even kill anybody to do whatever they want to do, which means vote buy. I'm sorry, you won't stop it by redesigning your naira. I'm sorry. Now I have debunked all the 7 reasons which you can find in public place for the reason why the CBN think they want to redesign naira. So what do I now think is the real reason for the redesigning of naira? Okay, so here is it. I honestly think that Nigerian government decided to redesign the banknote most probably because the government need 1 trillion naira. Okay, somebody will want to ask me, how is that possible? How is it that it is possible that the Nigerian government need 1 trillion naira and that is the reason why they choose to redesign naira? Okay, so pay attention to what the CBN governor has to say when he was talking about redesigning naira.
As at the end of September 2022, available data at the CBN indicate that 2.73 trillion naira out of the 3.23 trillion naira currency in circulation was outside the vaults of commercial banks across the country. Now,
according to Nigerian CBN governor, Nigeria economy has 3.2 trillion naira, and you know, majority of this money is supposed to be in the bank, but in a strange case, 85% of our money is outside the bank vault. Now, if 2.7 trillion naira of the Nigeria total 3.2 trillion is outside our commercial bank. I honestly want to ask you, who do you think is holding this money? We can arrive at a very good conclusion for this question by starting from you. And I'm going to ask you, how much do you have under your pillow in your house? As for me, in the last 5-7 years, probably 10 years, I cannot remember any time I was having 50,000 naira in my home. Because there is just no reason to have more than 10,000 naira around. Because even my plumber, when he comes around to fix something around my house, I transfer to him. It is called 737 in GT. No, I'm advertising for GT. And so it is with every educated Nigerian I know. It is very, very difficult for you to see an educated Nigerian who is having 100,000 naira under their pillow or 50,000 naira under their pillow. Now, I don't know, maybe you do, but I'm yet to see any educated Nigeria having such amount. So, if the CBN is looking for 2.7 trillion naira, and an average educated Nigeria, I'm even talking about educated Nigeria, my mother, no, they keep money for inside. If I send money to my mother, it is in the bank. My mother has bank accounts and she only managed to finish primary school. So if my mother would just manage to finish primary school, does not keep money in her home, who in Nigeria is keeping money in her home? Then somebody will say, yeah, people who live in rural area, because they don't have banks, they keep money at home. And I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry. I grew up in this village. You guess what? Even when we live in this village, I'm talking about 30 years ago, 35 years ago, most people, at least my mother, had a bank account in the town. She was a petty trader, and after making some profit, she ramp her money in a particular something and give it to somebody, and they help her to save it in the bank. And many other people who cannot have bank accounts, they are too poor to have money. They are too poor to have any reasonable money around. So if you go to all of the rural area in Nigeria and you want to steal all of their money, I would be surprised if you are able to come out with 500 million naira. So if the educated Nigerians don't have loads of money in their home, if the an average Nigerian worker work to live, he doesn't even have 10,000 in the bank, not to talk of under his cupboard. So if Nigerian traders don't keep money at home, if the poorest of Nigerians don't have money to keep, who in Nigeria, be honest with yourself, who in Nigeria is holding 2.7 trillion naira? The answer can only be one and one only. Nigerian politicians and criminals like them, those are the people keeping the money. They are the one keeping the 90% of the money. Now, this is where I'm going with this entire analysis. Now, imagine you are the president of Nigeria and you need 1 trillion naira. There are 3 ways to get 1 trillion naira. Way number 1 is increase what you are selling to the outside world. We know that is not possible because Nigeria only sell the oil, so that is not possible, right? Way number 2 is increase the taxes. That is not possible because people go hate your government, so you don't do that too. Way number 3 is what if you go print 1 trillion naira? Yeah, yeah, that is crazy because then you're on the way to become Zimbabwe. So this three way by which you can generate 1 trillion naira is cancelled. It is not possible. But then you are having some drinks with the central bank governor. I'm sorry, my president does not drink. But anyway, you are having a meeting with the CBN governor, and CBN is telling you, say, Mr. President, I think we have about 2 trillion naira in the hand of the Nigerian criminals. And there is no way we can go after them to get that money. They are hidden in the villages. They are hidden everywhere. What can we do? Then in that meeting, somebody suggested that, what if you redesign the notes? And suddenly something goes off in the mind of everybody. Oh, wow. If we redesign the note, we can actually get 1 trillion naira. You ask how? Well, this is how you would do it. Don't forget, we have analyzed in detail that this money is in the hand of criminals, right? Okay, so this is what you would do. 4 things. First, come on TV and announce that you are redesigning the naira. Second, announce that the old note will be useless in the next 90 days. Then third, alert the EFCC to be on the watch and watch out for anybody that is going to bring into the bank hall anything more than 5 million naira.
Law that we have in which an individual is expected to carry out a transaction that is above 5 million naira through the financial institution. There is also the threshold in which a corporate entity is expected to carry out transactions that is above 10 million.
Then fourth, let the EFCC go after the bureau de change who might be helping this criminal to change their money to dollars. Now, after you do all of these 4 things, you will discover that 2 things will happen. First, suddenly all these criminals who had kept money for the last 10 years somewhere will rush to go and check the money. Then they will discover that probably half of that money is already spoiled. This, my brother, is already happening in Nigeria.
Oh, wallahi kalamu gunin grena wallahi norno wallahi normo tuno kasara wallahi aran godi wallahi irno kakar wallahi bukin ne ya wallahi zangugu no kahir kar wallahi gamberi ko nati wallahi me cikiri ana guna lajine ya dirmile. What
you have just seen now is an entire lorry, a truck load with money. Nobody can guess how much that could be, but that money, like many others, many of them would not risk coming to public with a load of money. They would just pour petrol on it at night and set it ablaze. If you pay attention to social media in recent days and weeks, you must have been seeing images of notes that are already spoiled. The second thing that will happen if you do the 4 things I listed here diligently is that even those guys that are having genuine notes that have not spoiled, they will be afraid of either going to the bank. I mean, how will you go to the bank with 1 billion naira and think you will go scot-free? You will have to explain how you earn 1 billion naira when your father was the former governor, or when you are 27, or when you are former local government chairman. I mean, so you will not go to the bank. Then you'll be afraid of going to bureau de change because the EFCC is after them too. So you will just give up and, accept your fate. At the end of the day, by January 31st, or let's say February 1st, when the CBN governor and whatever other member of his cabinet sit down to really measure the amount of money that have come back to the Nigerian commercial bank, what they will discover is that out of the 2.7 trillion they were expecting to come in, it is only 700 billion that come in. Or if some criminals are able to find their ways, maybe you call it 1 trillion. Now, if you understand how I started this analysis, the Nigerian economy can sustain 3.2 trillion naira, which is why the central bank keep it at that. Now that we have been able to successfully destroy 1.7 trillion, or at least 1 trillion, we can comfortably go and reprint 1 trillion naira, and it won't affect the economy. That is what I think. Some people say, okay, you earlier said they can't print money. Yeah, they can't print money because you measure a particular economy based on the number of money or number of currency it can sustain. And in the case of Nigeria, it used to be 3.2 trillion naira. So now we have been able to successfully destroy 1.7 trillion, or in the worst scenario, 1 trillion naira. It means if you go and print that 1 trillion, you are still keeping your currency at the same amount. I mean, it is as simple as you go after this thief to take those money. Oh, if you do not think this is the most likely reason why Nigerian government is redesigning the note, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. You can look around for more of my videos, or share this video with somebody that may like it. Thank you so much.